Hi, friends, and welcome to another episode of Tuesday Tea Time with Sahdi and Omni, where we spill the tea and drink the tea about our weekly spiritual practices and what's going on in our life. I'm Omni.
And I'm Sahdi.
And today we're drinking tea with elderberry, wild mint, and rosemary because today we're talking about how you can forage things locally and that you don't have to spend a bunch of money, and how you can buy things even at the Dollar Tree to do your rituals with. Sahdi, you took a trip to the Dollar Tree.
Yes, I did. I do often, but this time I went in with the intent to really look around to see what kind of things I could find for $1 to add to my spells and my rituals.
Yeah, because I go there every week. I mean, because you don't have to spend a buttload of money on things that are supposed to be outside of the third dimension. You know, we're in the material realm, but when we're tapping into spirituality, we're going higher into higher dimensions. You don't have to spend a buttload of third dimensional money on that stuff. Nature provides a lot of it. And if you can't find it in nature, because yes, we do live in the 21st century, then you don't have to go spend an arm and a leg for it. You can literally go to the Dollar Tree. Sahdi, you've mentioned before when we've talked about candles, you're like, you can light a birthday candle.
Exactly.
Find those at the Dollar Tree.
Yeah.
Okay, so what did you find?
The first thing that caught my eye was candles, of course. And they have so many different candles there. And they also have the 3-day candles. And when you buy those online or in other places, they can run up to $12, $15 for the spell candles. I found them there. What you can do is you can peel off the outer layer and you can write your own words of affirmation on the spell.
Oh, that's a good idea.
And you can put your own intent into them and things like that. If you don't want to write your own, they have a lot of decals in the craft section. And some of them will say inspirational quotes on them.
Oh, yeah.
And so you could just take those and stick them on your candle.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Or you could just use a sticky note or write with Sharpie on the candle and make it uniquely your own.
They also have glass pens there, because I know because I've gotten them. So the markers that you use specifically to draw on glass, they have those there and you can use that too.
Yeah, exactly.
See, giving me ideas right now.
Right. Yeah. You don't have to spend a lot of money. And when it comes to rituals and things like that and your spells, it's about your intent.
Yeah, that's the number one ingredient in any ritual, because our spirit, our energy, our mind is what is powerful. That's what's magic.
And then I was also looking around and they have a lot of different mirrors. I've been really looking into mirror magic recently. And I was picking up all these mirrors and I'm like, wow, I could do so many things with these. Reversal spells and things like that too when you use mirrors. And then for beauty spells, they have the handheld mirrors and you can decorate it and you can write words of affirmation on that as well.
Oh, that's a good idea.
They also have different lotions and oils and stuff like that. They're dye and fragrance free.
Oh.
And you can put your own essential oils into them.
Yeah, and make it your own.
Yeah, and not to mention all the empty spray bottles and things like that they have that you could add your own essential oils and Florida water and sea salt, and you can come up with your own creative ways to make sprays for your rooms, for your body, for your sacred spaces.
Oh, I love that. I didn't even think about that.
And they even have wreaths.
Oh, I've done that.
Yeah, and you can make your own wreaths. And for a lot of people that are into witchcraft or doing rituals and things like that, some people don't want the world to know. So if you create a wreath, you could put your own spells within the wreath. Yeah. And nobody ever would know. You just hang it on your front door.
They just assume it's a Christmas wreath.
Yeah. Or people leave them up all year round sometimes for different occasions.
I actually did a Halloween wreath, a Thanksgiving one, and then one for the Christmas holiday too. So.
Or you could even just make one that's year long that is filled with protection spells. And you can put it on your front door in your bedroom or wherever you want to put it.
That's such a good idea.
Yeah.
I love that.
So yeah, there was like a lot of things. You can go to the dollar store and just walk around and just ask Spirit, lead me to what I need. You'll find it. If you can't find it at a dollar store, you could always go to outlet stores.
Oh, yeah.
And find a lot of things. Like there's Ross here. And I go to Ross and I found statues and all kinds of different things there.
I got a lot of my gardening stuff from there. Being a single mom, I gotta go to the place that I can have discounts at.
Yeah, like at Ross, I find all kinds of really cool things like candle holders and trays where I can put my rituals on my trays. I found my Ganesha things there and goddess statues.
Oh, same. Oh, my potters. Anytime I need a new pot for my plants, I go there. And that's where I got my Ganesha potters and my triple goddess ones too. So they're a great place to look at if you have one around you. And I think they're pretty spread out. And you could go to secondhand stores as well.
And secondhand stores are cool. I used to go a lot, but recently because I'm so connected to energy, when I get things that have been used from other people, I have a tendency to feel like there's an attachment to wherever it came from.
Oh, yeah. Well, we were in NOLA and we went to a real true blue vintage store.
Oh, I couldn't breathe in there.
Yeah. Sahdi walked in and something pushed on your chest, right?
Yep.
And then she went to see these keys because she's learning from Hecate. And these were old vintage keys, which I did something sneaky is she asked him how much they were. And he's like, oh, $10. And she was like, okay. And then she kept walking because she was feeling like she couldn't breathe and she was getting pushed out of there. I hit the guy up with a 20 and was like, give me that one and another one.
She gave it to me for my birthday. It was so sweet. He was like, what? Yeah, but sometimes when I go into places like that, the energy can be a little bit too intense for me. And that's not like that for everybody. So if you can do it, do it.
Yeah.
But for me, it's the intensity.
Yeah, I can see that for sure. It's a good practice no matter what, whether you can feel it or not, is to cleanse anything you get.
Oh, yeah, of course. But maybe it's because I'm a medium and I'm just so open and so in tune with things. If I pick certain things up, I can feel the energy of where it came from. And a lot of times, people just give things away, but also people pass away.
Yes.
And then they take their things and they give it to a secondhand store. So I feel like when I get into those places, I'm just picking up on so much energy that it's a little overwhelming for me.
So you'll never see Sahdi at an estate sale, but that might be a good place to pick up some vintage.
Yeah, that really would be.
Not for Sahdi.
And then tap into your intuition too, because I have found things out and about or garage sales or estate sales or places like that. It's just I can't be inside of a place like that for too long.
Yeah.
Just shopping for things, but I would encourage everybody to really open your mind to your surroundings. Like, for instance, I've been in the same house for 11 years and there was a really pretty tree outside, but I didn't know what it was. And last year I found out it was a magnolia tree. And the healing properties in the magnolia flowers and the bark and everything else had a lot of benefits that I personally needed in my life at that time. And I was like, wow, I have this whole beautiful tree outside of my house with all these healing benefits. And I never tapped into that before.
Oh, yeah. Well, when I was learning plants, the first thing I did was pick up a book about local native plants. And moving from Illinois to Oregon was a huge switch for me because going just to the park, there's rosemary growing everywhere here.
Exactly.
Or pine trees. But even if you don't live in a place where we're obviously surrounded by pine trees, when I lived in Arizona growing up, we used to buy fresh Christmas trees every year and they would be shipped down from Oregon. So could you imagine it being around Christmas time and you just keep some of that pine for yourself?
Yeah, keep it and you can boil it. You can use it in your spiritual baths. It's got a lot of cleansing and spiritual properties that go along with that. You could dry it and use it
year round. I went to a Christmas farm and got a bunch.
Yeah, and it smells so good when you boil it up. Boil it up with some orange peels and some lemon peels and throw a cinnamon stick in there.
Yeah.
And it cleanses the air in your house and gives purity and protection and repels the negative energy. And it makes your house smell amazing.
Oh, yeah. I buy lots of fruit, but sometimes it starts to go bad. I don't throw it away. I throw it into a simmer pot always.
Yeah, I do too.
And then that way you're using the energy from it in one way without wasting it.
Yeah, I have simmer pots going all the time.
Oh, in Oregon, blackberries and elderberries grow crazy here. So that's another reason why we put elderberry into our teas. Also, Sahdi has been under the weather and I've been a bit sick too. So elderberry boosts your immune system. Made sure to put extra in there.
Yeah, it's good. I guess what we're trying to say is it doesn't need to cost a lot of money for you to do rituals and spells and things like that. And a lot of things are free. I guarantee if you just go walking around your neighborhood, walk for a half a mile and back, you will see things, even weeds growing on the side, dandelions, dandelion roots. Everybody has dandelions. You can use those in teas and you can use those in spells, and they have so many different spiritual purposes.
I've literally gone on walks to get dandelions.
And you can make wishes in your spell if you're trying to manifest something. You can use that, incorporate that. And dirt, dirt holds energy of the earth. And I know that we've talked about this a little bit before, but say you're doing a spell where you want to manifest money into your life. Go to a bank and take a little bit of dirt from the bank, because it has a constant energetic signal of transfers of money in and out. Look at your surroundings.
You could do graveyard dirt, but there's some disclaimers. We did an episode on tarot, and I believe we touched base on that. But I think the only warning on that is don't just grab from anybody's grave, because you're picking up the energy from that person, and you need to be very respectful and bring an offering of sorts.
Yeah, anytime I ever go to a graveyard, I bring an offering of something to give to the graveyard itself as an entity of its own, holding all that energy. But yeah, you don't want to just grab any dirt.
What would be a good spell for graveyard dirt off the top of your head?
Ending cycles, death and rebirth.
Maybe mourning, helping with emotions and grieving.
Those are on the lighter level. I mean, there are just some darker things that I could think of to use graveyard dirt for. And yeah, just recently we did a road opening spell, and we really wanted to focus on communication. And I got some dirt from outside of the news station. So you can get really creative with the dirt that you're using for your spells.
Yeah, I forgot you did that from the news station. I was like, that's such a great idea.
Oh, construction site, building.
Oh,
You could even get dirt from a construction site, depending on what they're doing there, because they're either tearing something down, and you can use that to incorporate that energy, or they're building something brand new. And that's another thing. If you're trying to learn and absorb knowledge, you can get dirt from a college or somewhere where higher learning is involved.
yeah. You could even incorporate your pets. My daughter has a pet snake, and so she always brings me the sheddings from it, because snake sheddings are very protective. There's a lot of deities that are tied to snakes, and so you can use that.
And the transformative energy of snake shedding its skin.
Yeah. Oh, when she went shopping looking for stuff for Hecate, for the altar she was making, and she ran into a black dog, and we were like, oh, you should get the hair off the dog for your altar. So even that, or okay, my cats, sometimes they fight and one of my cats has ended up with a cat claw on his face twice, and I've kept that for an altar, for an offering. Or didn't you say something about your cat leaving you whiskers?
Yes.
Yeah, but mine never have.
Oh, you've never found whiskers?
No, little brats. Just claws in their face.
Or teeth or anything like that?
No. No. But yeah, you can use those. Just stuff inside your house that you already have.
Yeah, and you can go to the grocery store and buy seasonings. You don't have to go on Amazon or forage the herbs yourself or anything like that. If you're on a budget and you have food stamps, just buy some rosemary from the grocery store or whatever herbs that you need to use. Even instant coffee. You can buy the cheapest instant coffee that you can find and use it to your spells to intensify if you want something to happen immediately. Use coffee.
Shoot, I forgot about that.
And if you're doing like a spell where you have somebody in a jar and you want to teach them a lesson, you can confuse them with poppy seeds or put hot sauce and things like that
You can
in their
pee in
jar.
it.
Yeah, that's free.
It's for free.
Yeah. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah. Or we did a whole episode on tree magic. So you can connect to trees and take the offerings from them. And like we talked about apples and being an offering, there's apple trees around most places. Or if you're in Florida, oranges, obviously. Well, because we talked about on a more recent episode about the little helicopter things, right? And how those can be used for air magic.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I recently found out that I have a tree in my yard that produces those as well.
Yeah. So right out her back door.
Yeah. I had a tree that was protecting me.
Yeah. I know at the local park, there's this one tree that lets off these spiky things. And I'm like, what are those? And I looked them up, and they're sweet gum balls, and they get boiled down, and they're the part of the gum that makes it stick together. You can use those and spells for protection. I have lots of jars of herbs and stuff, but a lot of this stuff is stuff I either grow or I go forage locally. I've gone on walks around my neighborhood to get dandelions, because dandelion root, dandelion flowers are all used medicinally.
Yeah, and there's a lot of weeds out there that people just pull up out of the ground and throw away, or they cut down, or they poison them. And most people have the Google image on their phone or something along those lines. And if you're walking around and you see some weeds, take a picture of it and then look up the spiritual properties or the health benefits of the weeds, and you'd be surprised at what you'll find.
Yeah, there's ground daisies everywhere in the spring. They kind of look like chamomile, but they grow in grass. And so you can go to your local park. I would say if it's a smaller park, I guess look and see if they spray anything, but mostly they just mow them all down. So you should be pretty safe. Just make sure you wash everything before you put it in any kind of tea or anything or dry it out. There's so much. You just have to stop and really think about it. I would see these things walking around, and until I started paying attention, I didn't really see them for what they were. There's magic in everything.
It's true.
Or even tree bark. We have these trees downtown, and they're white, but the bark like peels off very easily and falls off and stuff. I looked that up with Google Image, and there's some properties in that I found surprising. It's been a while now. So
they kind of peel off like little pieces of paper. I use those to write little petitions on.
Oh, that's so smart. We talked about pencils in our tree magic episode. So pencils, the inside, not lead, that's an urban legend. It's actual graphite, which could be considered a crystal. In some senses, it has magical properties, and then the outside is oak. And so when you're writing, you're basically writing with a wand, and you can get those at the Dollar Tree. You can get a whole pack of those for like $1.
Right.
The Dollar Tree has some pretty cool jars, though. Oh, they have the little tiny jars with the little cork lid. I have a whole box full of those. Oh, yeah, and they have candle melters. So you can also recycle, too. But, I mean, I would be careful depending on what you use the candle for. But if you're doing a money spell, you put the remnants in that into a candle melter and just keep it going.
Yeah.
And then the tea light candles, which people use that for a lot of things.
I got all my tea light candles there. Oh, and then they have the little boxes in the craft part where you can paint them and decorate them. And you can use those to hold your pendulums and things like that, because different pendulums hold different energy. And so you could have a few different boxes that have your pendulums inside of them, and you can get really creative with it. So I use this pendulum when I'm dealing with matters of love, and you can make it really pretty with hearts and pink and red and stuff like that. And then you can have another pendulum that's more for darker energy, painted black. And
oh, I love that. You could put sigils on the outside.
Exactly.
Yeah, and they have paint markers there too. So you can get real creative with it. Oh, I love that. Yeah, that craft department in the Dollar Tree has gotten really cool.
It really has. Like,
when my kids were little, I used to go there and be like, that's where we're getting our paintbrushes and paint, because, they ruin everything. So I'm like, whatever. But going through it now, I'm like, wow, they have stuff to make jewelry. I mean, you can make a little pendant. Even walking around your neighborhood, there's flowers everywhere, and you can do a self-love satchel as well.
It just don't let your neighbors see you.
Yeah.
You'll have you have really pretty roses. I'm just going to take these for my spells.
Here, I've noticed a lot of the trees have flowers on them. I have gone up to somebody that was outside, and there's this tree around the corner from me where they fall to the ground because they don't really pick them or whatever. And I'm like, can I have some of those flowers on the ground? They're like, you can pick them off the tree. And I was like, I'll just take the ones on the ground. Like, thank you.
Yeah, once they're on the ground, they're fair game.
Yeah, they're mine. And once you start getting familiar with different things, because you can get a book on stuff, or once you just start learning about plants, you start spotting them out in the wild. Every time I go on a hike now, I'm like, there's some mullein. It's supposed to be nature's toilet paper because it's really soft, but there's a lot of medicinal and spiritual uses for it. Or horsetail. When I go hiking, I can always spot that out. It's really good for your hair and whatnot. So just get familiar. You don't have to buy a book on it. You can literally look on the internet for free. But once you start reading up on it and becoming more familiar with how it looks, it's easier for you to spot. So just put your mind out there for it. So when I first started out with learning about different herbs and whatnot, I had them in little jars, because there's little sticky labels you can get at the Dollar Tree as well. And I got those and put them on the jars, and I wrote the spiritual use and the medicinal use. And that helped me remember what different plants were used for. I would look through all the jars. Say I was looking for something for allergies. I'd look through all the jars and try to find any ones that were good for allergies and put them aside. And then I'd make a tea with that. Eventually, I was like, I need a tea for allergies. And I could all of a sudden remember, oh, well, yarrow is good for that. Or,
yeah, you're training yourself.
And you don't have to have $1 million for that. You can literally get some jars and get the sticky notes from an outlet store or from the Dollar Tree. Or you can get water from nature. So river water, if you want to invoke a river spirit, which they're known to fuck shit up. So feed a name to a river spirit.
Or if you wanted to use it, go to the dollar store, get a spray bottle, fill it up with river water. And then that's a flow of energy. That's a currency. It's a body of water that's continuously flowing. And then you could use that and add herbs to it to help cleanse your spaces
Oh,
and your ritualistic tools.
yeah. Oh, I just thought about using that for like a money spell. Constant flow.
Multiple streams of income. Get it from rivers, get it from streams. I personally use waterfall water in one of my sprays that I use. And so the powerful energy of waterfall water, you can use that.
Yeah. And we have talked about like if you're next to an ocean and grabbing that and bringing it
Oh,
home.
yeah, that's really powerful.
You can spray that on yourself for cleansing. I release some of my spells into the ocean, biodegradable, releasing it into the ocean. That's a huge body of water, and that's a huge entity within the water spiritually. I feel like there's an entity tied to the ocean, and it's a huge one. And so I feel connected to that. Kind of like the same concept of spirits being in certain trees. I feel like the ocean has a really powerful one that I'm tied to. So I always try to, when I can make it there, to release there. The Dollar Tree has feathers, or you find some outside.
And you can do so much with feathers. You can write with them and sign your petitions with feathers. You can use them in all kinds of rituals and spells. You can make things with them, like dream catchers and things like that.
Air energy. You can make a wind chime easily.
You can even attach one to your pen or your pencil and use it to help harness air energy into whatever you're writing.
Yeah, and send it out to the universe.
Or to use in your smudging.
Yep.
Use feathers to smudge the air, to smudge your space.
Yeah. I'm sure we can go on and on and on, but we got to keep this short because it is a tea time and we're here for a fun time, not a long time. That's all the tea for today. And remember to always keep your minds open.
Namaste, bitches.